Hey everybody, Kimberly here, and I have got a delightful cooperative game, 1 to 4 players, that lasts about half an hour and is jam-packed with adventure and theme and really adorable artwork. The game is called Run, 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 and it is co-designed by Bruno Cathala and Anthony Perroni. Now, this game, just again, I find it so fun that there are all these lovely cooperative games out there. My husband is just a big fan of these games, and so we find them getting to our table more and more regularly. And this has that very fun, like Indiana Jones kind of vibe to it, like that adventuring where you're down in this dungeon. In this case, players are playing a cat venturer, and they are exploring this dungeon, trying to escape before the mummies essentially gain the biggest amount of power. There's this kind of sarcophagus that's going to unleash all of the worst, which is, again, it's just so fun, right? It's like, all or nothing, because players are going to work together to create these mechanisms that allow them to overcome the mummy. And there are these little worker mummies, these guys right here, and they're going to be revealed in these cards right here, and they have different ways of working and functioning in the game itself. Again, you'll see how adorable they are. But there are these that just continue populating throughout the game until you reach the big bad. And there is a 1 out of 3 chance of getting one of these mummies, and you don't know which one because you're going to shuffle it up and you're going to essentially say, this is the one that we are going to essentially meet at the end of the game. So you put all 3 of these figures here in hopes that you will essentially face one of those. You don't know which one though. So players are going to have their own player character. These are so cute. These little cat venturers, they all have a unique look to them. They have a player card with a unique ability that when the question mark on the die is rolled, they get to do something really special. So you're going to give every player their figure, their player card, and there's collectively 5 torches in the game because, again, we're in this kind of crypt, we're in this dungeon, and we are leaving this room right here. This is the sarcophagus room. There's kind of like all the jewels, and there's this gate right here. So we have one exit. It's right here. And players also in a 4-player game will look at their tiles. Everybody starts with 3, and you're going to see a variety of things. You're going to see symbols, and these are going to be grouped by the same. So if you see 3 omegas, you'll have 3 omegas that you can place side by side in a triangle configuration. That's going to trigger one thing. But if you have a triangle configuration of all 3 types, in this case you have the Ankh with the omega and the other symbol. Let me see if I can find it. Aha, it's this one, the Eye of Horus. So if you can have those 3 in a configuration, that's when you're going to get your mechanism. So 3 of the same kind gives you an abundance of torches back because torches are used in rooms that aren't already lit. And you need to be able to see the room. And then the mechanism is what happens when you do 3 in a basic game. If you create 3 mechanisms of 3 separate triangles of each of the types that I just mentioned, that triggers the final mummy. And you're going to reveal them. And you're going to have to eliminate all the mummies in the game. And once you do that, you win. So there are a variety of ways to lose, but the way to win is to kill all the mummies, to eliminate them after you've activated the big bad mummy. So on a player's turn, they're going to play a tile out onto the board, or they're going to fight. And at this point, there aren't any mummies to fight, but guess what? You have to roll a die every turn, because if you roll the symbol right here, which is a 1 out of 1 out of 3, so it's 3 out of 6. The others are blank. You are going to add a heart to this mummy, and once 5 get on this mummy, that mummy activates and will find whichever one it is, the white, the green, the blue, or the beige, and they're going to populate on the board, and their whole goal is to get here. If a mummy ever goes into this sarcophagus space, the game is over. So players are going to want to fight, but at first, I rolled nothing. So I rolled the die. That's the first step, and now I'm going to place out something. So one thing that I don't want to do is this, because that essentially creates a complete dead end. I can't do that, but what I could do is get started with this really cool symbol here. I'm going to put out that omega. There is no light in this room. There is a light in this sarcophagus room. So that's going to be pre-lit, but mine isn't. So that means I have to collectively use one of my team's torches. We only have 5 torches. And then that's going to be essentially my turn. So that's it for me as the blue player. And we're all going to put our figures here. We're all going to start in this space right here. And the interesting thing too is once you've rolled the die and seen if you activate any mummies, they might move. So if you roll this symbol, not only do you add a heart to the next mummy, the existing mummy or mummies on the board move 1 step closer to the sarcophagus room for every symbol shown. Then you play a tile out or fight, and then you add any torches that are necessary. And then the next thing is you'll draw a tile back into your hand from any of the piles over here. But the very, very last thing, so I was playing blue, is you're going to have to be able to move into the room that you just played a tile for. Players have a base movement of 3, so make sure that you are placing a tile in a way that you can access. And if you can't get there, you can discard from the top of the tile deck for 1 every space that you are short, not tiles from your hand. But this is it. I finally am done. I walked into this space. I've started the omega. Let's go to purple player and see what they're going to do. They actually were dealt 1 of each. This is going to be that Eye of Horus, the Ankh, and then the omega. Players can talk to each other because this is a cooperative game, but they can't tell each other exactly what configuration they have and what tiles they have. But they could say things like, I'd really like to participate in this, or I can really help out with that. So let's have the player go here. Now, this is an interesting part of the game too. You essentially have to connect everything properly. So if this is purple player, we're going to see here that this connected right here, and it also has walls and walls right there. So essentially this is the only exit for this, and you wouldn't, well, I guess they could technically do this right here, which would take them right here into a space, but you're not allowed to essentially put an entrance to a wall or a wall to an entrance and block off things like that. Again, this doesn't have a light. And this person is going to be purple and move into that space because they walk 1, 2, they have a movement of up to 3. Now this is where the blue tile needs to go, and there's no walk there, so people are going to have to essentially build around to it. They did, though, at the beginning of their turn, need to roll the die. What did they get? They got 1 symbol. So they're going to put a heart up here. Don't forget, that's the very first step of each player's turn. So if you play out a sarcophagus like this player has here, they're also going to draw up. They're going to be able to draw from the sarcophagus pile, and there are really cool opportunities in here. You've got essentially drawing more tiles. You've got taking off of symbols. Let me show you this right here from the book. These are the sarcophagus tokens. Right here, you've got add the indicated number of torches to the shared supply. Before you attack, discard tokens. Double the amount of damage you inflict. Mummies are going to have some hit points. Draw the indicated number of room tiles. Inflict an additional damage. Draw a room tile and add a torch. These are fun, and you get to keep those sarcophagus tokens until you want to use them. So everything is in here that reminds you how to play. There's a lovely turn summary at the end. Mummies action, you choose 1 out of 3. The only action I haven't talked about is cooperate, and that is when you're really in a pickle. Players have these cooperate or regroup tokens that they can use to kind of get back into the game if they feel like they are about to lose. And then draw a room tile, always draw a room tile. So the game has a couple bits here. These are your attack dice. And so when you roll your attack dice, they're going to give you either the question mark that triggers your own personal ability, maybe tiles, they're going to give you maybe movement, they're going to be the attacks, the damage, due to the particular mummy that's out on the board at the time. And as you can see, with all of these tiles, there are 4 stacks that are this big, plus every player has 3. This board is going to grow and grow and grow, and you're going to have this wonderful crypt, this labyrinth of an underground, really, really cool dungeon that you are essentially navigating. And your goal again are to create these gears, these mechanisms, so that you can get 3. Now, they have 5 in the game because if you want to play on a harder level, you play up to 4. And if you want to play on really hard or expert or extreme, you have to create 5 different mechanisms before it triggers the end mummy that comes to life and starts charging towards the sarcophagus up here. Again, if any of them are going to cross that threshold, game over. So you're all working together with these lovely critters. The tile draw is really fun. You have tiles to pick from on your turn, and you're moving around in here, hopefully getting enough light so that you can light your way. And of course, share the responsibility of defeating the mummies that will come out on the board, and then the big bad. So fun. So delightful 30-minute game of tile laying, cooperating with 1 to 4 players. Just a really fun thematic game that's not real time, but is definitely it has that feel of like escape from Queen Games, but not with the time track. It's more like the Adventurers, which I really like the Adventurers series. Again, a la Indiana Jones. So have fun with Run, Run, Run.